Welcome back to a lecture series on groundwater pollution. The water gets polluted by many factors. The photograph shows that how this is going to be taken out. I mean, this is contaminated in the water from we thank filterwater.com for providing classic photographs. You see, you have waste you are filling up, and then slowly and the waste that dumped waste because of the waste that the water gets infected. The wells normally once if it is gets infected, and you have pesticides by using fertilizer in the agriculture slowly get into the water, and major pollutant or septic tanks, it's highly contaminated, and that is also gets slowly into the water, and then when you are pumping, it is automatically coming. Normally on those days we don't pump, but now we went up to 2000 feet below the ground to pump the water. So the contaminator which is coming out, and then how to assess this pollution, let us see one by one. Pollution, the excessive addition of unwanted matter into the environment and causing damage to the human, plant or animals. You see, from the industry, huge amount of water waste which is going, and this animated photograph which you see that you see the waste from the industry mixing, and then waste from the animals, waste from the dumps, which is slowly get into the water system. You see, this is how it's going inside. Animal waste and human waste. So this is septic tank or normal dilution also get into the water system, gets polluted. So this is called excessive addition of unwanted matter into the environment and causing damage to the human, plant and animal life. The material which cause environmental pollution are called pollutant. The cause behind the changes of these elements or pollutant. Degradation or contamination of fresh water by addition of unwanted materials is called groundwater pollution, or simply you can say water pollution. Contaminated water, when it enters into the aquifer and spreads from top to bottom, that it reaches into the groundwater table. Again, we have to be very careful, be serious on the water quality issues. And look at this figure that you see, there is a pollution from a coal strip mine, because you see you get the brown color, it is damaged. The water, when it touches the groundwater, this is unconfined groundwater system because of this mine waste which is going inside. And you see, you have the pollution from the industry, and you see this is dumped here, and slowly it gets into the water table. And you have the other waste, landfill, you are keeping everything here, and buried gasoline which you are using, that is also get into the system, and the sewer system which you are connecting, that is also entering into the water, and septic tank, I said, and all these things, which is hazardous waste injection into the subsurface also, it's because of the leakage from this faulty casing also get into your water system, and when you started using this by means of water pumping, then it is a serious issue. The most numerous and widely distributed potential sources of groundwater pollution are septic tanks and cesspools. And you look at that, because of this pollution, it is a animated drawing that all the animals which is lying on the sea, you see, get disturbed because of this pollutant water injected into any system of water. Common sources of groundwater contamination, it's said above: oil solvent leak, septic leaches, river leakage, and fertilizers entered into your water system. And these are the list: sewage from septic tank, farm waste, inadequate of broken sewers, fertilizers and pesticides from agriculture, residential runoff, highway salts, chemical and industrial material that leak from pipeline, storage tank, landfill, holding tanks, salt water in coastal areas, minerals and nutrients from dissolved rock and other natural materials. All these are all the sources, the different sources of groundwater contamination. Look at the back diagram. There is a pipe, contaminated water is being supplied to the water system. Slowly it get injected into the groundwater. There are two types of water pollution. One is by means of nature itself. You cannot arrest the nature to get pollute the water, but artificial pollution is also be a bigger one. There are two types. We will see one by one. Natural pollutions. It is like you see the mineral deposit, because some of the minerals, some of the drainages from abandoned coal field, when it interacts with the water gets contaminated. It is huge in size. It's not very small. Photographs are small. It's huge in size in terms of square, larger amount of square covering area. Not all pollution is caused directly by man. Yes, it is true. Natural pollutions may be caused by evaporate mineral deposits. Geologically, this has to be studied in detail. In every place, drainage from abundant oil and coal fields and similar sources of exceptionally poor quality water. Such a situation may sometimes be aggravated by rainfall. When it is a huge rain, automatically this gets into diluted, occurs in the watersheds, contributing the water of poorer quality. When compared to natural pollution, artificial pollution dominates nowadays more due to hectic population growth and water use. Important sources by which the fresh water can be polluted by natural process are the presence of evaporite deposits. These are all the evaporite deposits: gypsum, anhydrite, sulfur, and potassium. Of any region usually deteriorate the quality of water. The area occupied by limestone, fossiliferous limestone, calcite, magnesite formation also leach its constituents into the groundwater, and finally pollution is the end result of it. The presence of charnockite and ultra-basic igneous rocks of the area may be weathered and altered into concur because of chemical weathering. As a consequence, this may leach the carbonate and bicarbonate into the groundwater and slowly contaminating the groundwater system. The presence of fluorine in apatite, fluorine content in the parent rock like apatite also leach the fluorine ions into the groundwater, which will again unfit for drinking. A lot of bone tissues, bone related, bone teeth contamination because of this fluoride enrichment. Groundwater contamination may also occur naturally by the abandoned coal mines or the oil field. The last slide photograph reveals the same. Look at the volcano here. When it bursts, automatically air gets polluted. Automatically, that because of the liquid movement, the ground also subsequently when it forms a rain here, and then your groundwater system will also. And because of the seawater, you see the seawater is down here. When you pump the seawater, which will come very close to the pumping system, if the recharge and discharge is not maintained, the seawater is also one of the contaminant of pollution. The presence of radioactive mineral in the rock may be released into the groundwater and affects the quality. Volcanic eruption may lead to increase the sulfate and fluoride content of groundwater system. The growth of algae in the groundwater can produce bad taste, bad odor, hence making water unfit for drinking. Groundwater is sometimes polluted naturally by enforcement of seawater into the coastal aquifer. This animated diagram. Agriculture pollution. Apart from this, agriculture pollutions are also called as man-made pollution. They are municipal waste from urban pollution, industrial effluent from chemical industries, and agriculture pollution, pollution from injection well, that is called recharge well, and acid mine drainage, pollution by radioactive materials. However, sewage is controlled by biological treatment process to reduce the amount of pollution in the groundwater system. Municipal waste, let us see one by one. You see, look at this video, and when you just take all your waste into a river system, where this is going? This is automatically injected into groundwater, and you see huge amount of pollutant outlet is coming through this pipe, and then where this is going. This is again, get into a groundwater system, then it is get polluted. Man's normal domestic municipal activities result in the creation of waste, which may be broadly termed sewage. Sewage, it includes waste from commercial activity, hospital, hotels, institutions, and etc. The constitutions added to the water during its detergent usage, dissolved and suspended organic matter usage or inorganic matter usage, bacteria and various other substances. If the above waste were mixing with the pure water, they cause several waterborne diseases like dysentery, typhoid, cholera, and jaundice even too. And many more diseases are leading to this because of this pollution. And the chemical pollution from the industries are divided into effluents from metal processing unit, milk processing unit, dye manufacturing unit, textile industry, confectionery, brewing, plastics, dairies, canneries, refineries, sugar, paper, and atomic power plant. Everything that it is because of industries by which the pollutants are discharged to streams and underground water. The above industrial waste make the water unfit for drinking as well as agriculture purpose. The industrial effluent is controlled by chemical treatment process. And agriculture pollution, look at the photographs which what you are using it for the growth of plant in terms of the growth of the plant leads a little bit of pollution into the subsurface, but when you use it for a larger area, again the intensity of the pollution through this fertilizer also will increase in the groundwater system. Agriculture waste like plant residue, infiltration of nitrate from manures also degrade the quality of water. Application of fertilizer, pesticides, insecticides, herbicides also cause groundwater pollution. The return flow from irrigated land contained increased amount of hardness. Application of gypsum, calcium sulfate plus water for reclamation of saline and soil releases high content of sulfate in the groundwater system. Applying lime CaCO3 to reclaim acid soil also releases high content of carbonate and bicarbonate into the groundwater system. This is how the water gets contaminated by using various fertilizers. And pollution from the injection well, that is called recharge well. In developed countries, instead of storing wastewater in the surface, they recharge wells through waste into injected ground. You see, normally they pour put a drill pit and then send this also cause huge amount of water system water pollution. And look at these animations when the acid mine waste which is entering into a groundwater system, animals are dying slowly. And look at the color of the water, it shows very clearly that it is because of acid mine waste which you cannot even smell it. From the sulfate extraction unit, the sulfate may be released and followed by formation of sulfuric acid in the groundwater system. This acid is very much harmful for aquatic life. Ferrous sulfate plus oxygen plus water into ferric sulfate plus H2SO4. This is the reaction happen when it interacts with the water. Pollution by radioactive materials like the radioactive substances. If you put either a nuclear waste or radioactive pollutant into the groundwater system, assume that how huge quantity of water system are going to lose. The radioactive substance in the water should be present below the permissible limit. It should normally it is not happened. Radioactive materials like plutonium, radium, strontium will accumulate in the bones, iodine, and the thyroid glands, and lead and the lead in the kidneys will affect the human disease. Although physical damage is not immediately apparent from small amount of radiation, it is generally thought that even the smallest increase of absorbed radiation will increase the likelihood of cataract, leukemia, tumors, and you see, look at all the disease. It's all very key issues on the human health concern that radioactive materials also act as a pollution in the groundwater system. What are all the different methods before contamination and after contamination? As the normally we have a proverb called prevention is better than cure. So let us be prevent the pollution. If the prevention before contamination is not possible, then polluted water can be chemically treated. This is after contamination. You can use either directly or by the method of recycling, or you can do in situ chemical treatment or biological treatment or indirect reuse. This is how, again, in the developed countries, people have started utilizing, reusing the water system. Even in India, we have slowly started, because in the future, that is the major area that how the water has to be treated for the normal uses. And you look at the contamination, how it happens by the plastics. A scientist who is collecting all the plastics, it is there in the ground. It takes a large number of years for the degradation. You see the waste also. Now you see, look at the fishes are dying, but without knowing this, we normally keep all our pollution. Before contamination, surface water contact with the disposal site should be avoided. A lining and capping of waste is essential. Slurry wall has to be constructed before disposal. Grouting is essential for around the disposal site. Drinking well should be located minimum 15 meters away from the disposable waste system. Recharging by fresh water around the disposable sites is important to prevent aquifer contamination. Monitoring well should be maintained nearer to a disposal. You will have to monitor continuously. And reduction of pumping operation also, you have to reduce the consumption of water. This is being practiced well in the countries like Taiwan. After contamination, look at this video. That huge amount of water which is after contamination, direct use, industrial effluents or even municipal wastewater can be directly used for some other purposes like irrigation. That you will have to check whether the water is good, and then could be able to use it for the purpose of agriculture. You try to use it. Any program intended to utilize wastewater directly should be produced by a thorough evaluation of physical and biological characteristics. So this is the treatment process. You have a continuous, you see, industrial wastewater treatment. They are treating the water for using. In situ chemical treatment, you also can do in situ chemical treatment. You collect the water and then save it in a different domain, and then process it for a longer time, and then you see your water returns to a good water. That you have to do it. You collect, filter the water, then you can do it, by using setting tanks. This is called setting tanks. Setting tanks, coarser particles in the water can be removed. Later, it means it is filtering out. Later, the substances like aluminum sulfate, ferric chloride are added to remove the suspended and dissolved constituents. Finally, disinfection of water is carried out by applying chronic compounds. What is the indirect reuse? Reuse? And you look at the after secondary treatment, the water, polluted water can be reused. You see, they are processing in different stages. At this is the first stage and second stage, pushing and then taking out all. This is the water treatment plant. Dissolved air, which is pumped continuously in the fluoridation tanks, and finally you will get the better water. Most of the reclaimed wastewater is used in industry, irrigation, and groundwater recharge. Reclaimed sewage and industrial effluents are also primarily to augment industrial supplies. And you can, this is the bigger area in future that you will have to reuse the water. Of course, people have visited many institutions that they normally take 50 to 60% of the water is being reused, either for agriculture or for the sanitation cleaning. Like after chemical treatment of wastewater, they can be directly recycled for the same purpose. Sometimes even without any chemical treatment, the wastewater may be used. You see, this is the different agents are being applied into the water system, flocculation, and then the water gets treated well, and then after that the water is being started utilizing it. And coming to the biological treatment, process, this is the video for the sludgy process, and how that the sludges are coming. You see, you continuously send the water and from primary settlers, and then it's being treated in the contact zone. Mixers are there, and here recycling sludges from the it's being added, and air bubbles are taking out mixers. And the anoxic zone, there are different zones. Anoxic zone, aerobic zone, continuously, because of the air bubbles which is coming out is also being treated, and finally you will get your uh, better water. The biological treatment, the activated sludge process, the suspended growth Nutrification process, aerated lagoons, aerobic digestion process, high rate of oxidation. Of course, this is being well practiced in institutions for saving the water for recycle. With this, the lecture on the water pollution is come to an end. Thank you very much.